Now, just one last topic I want to quickly discuss is the difference between the point A, point B group coaching. Do people start with that or Evergreen? Like, what are you? I know you guys have tried both. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, it's interesting. So we've tried both. Like, there's lots of different models. Like, we actually got started by creating a mastermind, which is actually a fantastic way to create a group coaching experience. Put together a group of people, sort of like a mastermind, and if you do that for a long enough period of time, you're going to get a lot of great data around what's working, what's not working for the group, and everybody's kind of moving together with that understanding that it's kind of like a mastermind group. But we've also tried to.
Daniel, can you clarify a mastermind group? What does that look like?
Well, just basically a bunch of people who are pursuing the same goal, who are getting together to have conversations and to learn about a particular topic. And what we did actually, we brought that mastermind group various information and various ideas, and then we as a group tried things out, and we got feedback. One of the things that we did really right was we got a lot of feedback early on in the process from the group, and we actually were able to develop our tools as a result of that. So eventually we had so many tools developed that we actually said, oh, it's time, we need to run a cohort, because we want to take people through all the tools that we put together, or at least the foundational ones that seem to be really important, that people are getting value out of and using in the real world. And so we put together a cohort, a program, which was, I think it was a 6-week program the first time. I think it turned into seven weeks that first time. But we had a module for each part of the program. We had a module on opening sessions. We had a module on ending sessions. We had a module on how to do hot seats. So we had a module on all kinds of stuff, how to create culture. So we had all these modules, and we took the cohort through these modules, and we got even more feedback and improved it further. And we ran a cohort again the second time, and it was even better. And then we're like, oh, this cohort model totally works. But the challenge that we didn't know that we were trying to do number 3 was that the cohort requires everybody to be ready to go at the same time. If you have starting point A to ending point B, and when you start expanding beyond the people that you have very warm connections with, and you start going to people that may have other schedules and may not be able to make a particular session, they might not want to join the cohort. So when you try to run a cohort, you have to be very aware that it may be challenging for people to join that cohort for a thousand different reasons. Is it timing? Is it a particular session? Is it like being able to be there for all the sessions? And they may have their own reasons for not wanting to join the cohort, but they really wanted what you had to offer. And if you don't have another format available to them, you can run into problems in terms of people being able to do it and selling it. So we realized that, and we've had to make a shift into Evergreen, which is what we're working on now, which is a program where you have a supportive community environment where you have, sort of people get together on a regular basis to get supported in the journey of, for us, it's group coaching, but for the journey of whatever the topic is for you. And then through that process, they also learn some of the tools and the things that we have in the modules in the cohort. You can learn in that cohort, or you can learn some of the tools through some of the training that we're going to provide. And then we bring people together to have the group experiences. And those group experiences can be related to the training, but they can also be those kind of experiences that help people move forward and take action and apply consistent application of the concepts in their actual pursuits. So for us, for example, like we're a community that is around group coaching. Maybe they just learned something about how to open group sessions, and then they've gone and tried it. They can come back for the support part, which is where the community comes together and talk about that. What's worked in the field, what hasn't worked in the field, and then everybody grows from that. And as people share their experiences, so that's sort of the Evergreen model, where you have people can come in at any time, at any level, and they can share what's working in the field. They can share what is not working. They can also learn from our tools, and they bring that to the support sessions when they need support as well. So everybody can learn from that experience as a community together going forward.
Yeah, I love that, and maybe I can share another example outside of for coaches. So I've run a community for a year and a half, and it's been on Evergreen. Literally after the first month, I realized this needs to be on Evergreen. Yeah. And before that, I had a contract where I saw this in action, and so the coach just ran it on Evergreen. He would even switch around sessions from a model, a high performance model. and he would just take people through. He would remove the beginning and end parts, but he will just take people through. And what hit me was, for example, in the high performance model, there are really only 5 or 6 areas. It's you're either getting clarity, you're increasing your energy, you're increasing your productivity, courage, influence, but they're just session names are changing, but the theme remains the same and all the way. So if you look at it from a cycle point of view, like every month, you're going to come back to that same topic. So it actually doesn't matter at what point somebody joins it. And even after a year and a half, I've seen it does it. And you need to keep the refresher going on those same topics, especially if it's proven that those are going to create impact. Whatever the model is, I realize I'm like, this is so simple. Like you just run the same themes over and over and just move forward. And in the middle, I've added more different sessions to it. I've experimented with those, and some have been good, some have been not so great, but it continues on. And I think the Evergreen model is good because the focus is not necessarily, for me at least, the focus is not necessarily the topic. The focus is to help them get ahead within a community environment, within a support structure. And then the topic creates the focus, but it doesn't actually matter. Like even if topic gives them this sense of focus and continuity, but let's say you take out the topic and you just facilitated the session around, hey, what's coming up today, which there are a lot of coaching models that do that. You could do that.
That's actually an important part of, in an evergreen model. So we should define evergreen a little bit for the coaches too. We're like, wait, what do you mean evergreen? Where it's like, you can join at any time. You don't have to be aligned with the progress of somebody else. And you can just be part of the community for a while, and you come to your sessions in the community. And from a business point of view, it's like a lot easier and more sustainable to have an evergreen model, because you don't have to have this cohort where everybody has to start at the same time. So everybody has to just line up the stars for themselves, right? And your content doesn't have to be in a particular order, so people can get the content. Evergreen means you can get the content at the time you need it from the content modules, or maybe there's a different teaching that you do in a group setting, but the evergreen model allows you to be much more flexible than a rigid cohort like topic modules.
Agreed. Rob, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, what you guys were saying, there's a couple of elements, and you covered it really well. So what we would recommend, you're saying, what are the business models that work, or we'd recommend, and we're still perfecting this as we speak. But just as you said, evergreen, yes, which Daniel just did a good job of defining it. Rolling enrollment, which means people can join at any particular time. The knowledge isn't dependent on it doesn't matter when they join. And then the other elements that I would include in that is to make it a hybrid coaching model. So one of the ways that you can make something evergreen and rolling enrollment is if there is any foundational knowledge that the person needs in order to get up to speed with the rest of the group, and there may be, depending on the given topic, have that as pre-recorded videos where they can learn, they can see the past sessions. And I would actually create those videos in real time with the other participants who are active in the program at the time, but they get to watch the sessions that have gone before, so they are up to speed and they have some of the basic knowledge that they need, which helps to create the evergreen rolling enrollment element of it. And then the fourth element of that I would recommend is some mechanism to spur action and accountability, some kind of a system or a tracking sheet or a set of tools that people can use consistently. For example, for Daniel and I in the group coaching, one of the elements that we're building into the next version is some kind of a check-in where people are actually doing the work in the field and then getting the opportunity to debrief with each other in front of the other advanced coaches and get feedback on their event. So they actually take action and then bring their action, homework, whatever you want to call it, to the group and get direct feedback on it. But that spurs the element of taking action. on a consistent basis, which then creates that real transformation.
I love that. And there was this one point there around the training. So for example, in the high performance model, we're not allowed to share the videos of that with anybody who comes in. It's just that's the part of the contract.
Mm-hmm.
So the way I've gone around that is that I also do a training sessions every Monday. I do it. I used to do it every week, but now I do it every other week, and they go in a library. So there are certain themes, like if topics come up during group coaching that I can't cover in depth and it needs more training, I'll put that in there. But there are certain themes around personal growth and business and all sorts of areas I've covered that is in their library. So if they, and I don't tell them all go through all of them. I just am like, hey, if you have a specific area that you're thinking about, you will find the topic in your library. Now there are like 25 plus videos in there that they can go through. And then part of it is also a discussion, so they can go through that as a way. So there are so many different ways of doing this stuff. It's just a way of getting started and moving forward towards there. And by the way, whether or not group coaching is more effective than one-on-one, even if you take that out of the picture, at some point as a coach, for you to scale, you're going to have to go towards group coaching to some degree, because you're going to run out of bandwidth.
If you want to scale, yeah. Some coaches don't want to scale. Some coaches just want their one-on-one clients, and they have that, and that's all they want. Yeah. But if you want to scale, which most coaches eventually will get to that place where they need to scale, and then they realize their schedule is all one-on-ones and they don't have space to scale anything, right? The only way to scale at that point is to increase prices. And sometimes if you increase prices, you may have some people no longer coach with you. Hopefully not, but at least that'll open up space for you to create a group. So the group is a way to scale. And you can actually, the group experience can be more valuable than a one-on-one experience. It can also increase the value of a one-on-one experience, as far as I was talking about. Mm-hmm. So, you know, there's a place to open our minds to group coaching that most one-on-one coaches don't think about.
So I actually literally got this tip today around that, and I have my membership model structured like that. But what I didn't realize, the business coach, he kept talking about it, and it hit me, and then he gave me that as a tip while he was demonstrating it. So his one-on-one coaching was at 100K. And he was mentioning is like, for example, I charge 100K for my one-on-one clients, but then at the mastermind level, I charge this. At this group, I charge this. And you could structure it that way. But then at the end, he literally gave me that as a tip, that if you have your one-on-one coaching at the higher level and you double your prices, assuming that you want people to go into group, then it naturally creates a price juxtaposition for them. And they self-qualify themselves for a group, but then you might be surprised there are people who might want to come into your one-on-one program, even though you've raised the price quite a bit. That sold me on it. Like I doubled all my stuff just on that, because I've been thinking about it. I'm like, he was literally modeling it, because as he said 100K, oh, I can't do 100K right now. What else do you got? And he's like, oh, I got this 24K that will work for you. I'm like, holy shoot, this is incredible. But I like the idea that, especially if I'm booked, pretty much booked for my one-on-one. I probably can't handle any more one-on-one clients. So it does a couple of things. One, I raise my rates because there is a higher demand for me as a coach. But what it also does naturally is, it's not artificial. It creates a price juxtaposition there that people self-qualify for the group coaching rather than one-on-one coaching, which I really like. So maybe a good tip for others. I literally learned that today. And it sold me on doubling my prices on investment on all my programs, at least on the one-on-ones.